Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is what is the most embarrassing thing you did in front of your crush. Make sure to like and subscribe. Story 1. So there was this guy at work, a different department, who I saw maybe once every 2 weeks. He was beautiful, so beautiful every brain cell in my head fled the moment I saw his glorious face. He was very polite and friendly too, so when he would walk past he would smile and say hi. One time he did that I spilled a whole can of Red Bull over myself trying to say hi back and doing an awkward wave. Another time I was about to go back inside when the hi came and I was so dazzled by the smile that I forgot that doors need to be opened and smacked face first into it. That got him smile. Story 2. Alright, my time to shine. I was in the 9th grade, and we were all stuck in a room together taking our yearly standardized test. Cute girl sitting next to me, let's call her Ashley. For context, Ashley wasn't fat at all. She wasn't stick skinny, but certainly not fat. This becomes relevant later. Anyway, the test is over and we're all sitting around chatting and eating lunch. I forget the conversation, but Ashley says something about not wanting to eat too much because she's fat. Me being the gentleman, I wanted to compliment her, but it just came out wrong. I responded with "You're not that fat." Yeah, safe to say I messed up. Story 3. In 10th grade biology class, the girl I had a crush on was sitting in front of me. She had forgotten her textbook that day, so we were sharing. As the teacher went around the room having each student read aloud, when it was my turn, I stumbled over a word that would haunt me for weeks to come. Instead of saying organism like I was supposed to, I said orgasm out loud. The class erupted into laughter, and I was mortified. I could feel my face turning red as I sank lower into my chair, wishing I could disappear. To make matters worse, my teacher only added to the humiliation. Instead of correcting me, he made a comment that only made me feel more awkward. "Keep going, you're on a roll," she said, causing the entire class to laugh even harder. Looking back, it's a funny story, but at the time, it was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Story 4. Got drunk and told him I'm in love with him. Told him a long list of all the sweet things I do for him, such as leaving chocolates on his desk and baking for him using his favorite cheese because I love him. Told him why I felt hurt when he brought this girl along to a function and introduced her to me. Told him how much I wanted to message him on Christmas and New Year's Day. Yeah, basically I told him in minute detail all the feelings I had for him all this time, and apparently he had no idea. I told him this last week. I've yet to hear back from him. Story 5. I was talking to a girl I liked in between classes, and we had to go to another building. On the way, we had to go down this short marble-esque staircase. It was also raining out. I slipped on the second to last step, and I landed on my back at the bottom. It didn't terribly hurt, but it knocked the wind out of me in both directions. I ripped a fast but hard fart as soon as I landed. I got up quickly, and I could see her trying to stifle a laugh. So I just said see you and walked back the way I came. After that, I didn't really talk to her again. Story 6. I was in high school and asked this girl out on a date. She said, "How about Friday we go out to dinner and a movie?" In the most embarrassing thing ever, I said, "How about we just go to a movie? I don't think I can get my dad to give me that much money." She actually did go out with me. We ended up doing dinner and a movie, and she dated me for 4 years into college. I can't imagine why. I told her how embarrassing that conversation was years later, and she said she thought it was funny I asked her out but didn't have any money. Story 7. I was 17 at that time and had a major crush on a girl that I saw every summer in Italy. We were at a party and she tried to kiss me, but I freaked out. So I couldn't think for a couple of seconds and poured a beer over her head. Never in my life I had this feeling of shame. I saw her a couple of weeks ago because her brother moved here and she asked me about it. Luckily, she laughed about it and was joking the whole time about it. Story 8. I had a huge crush on this guy in college. We had a couple of classes together as we shared a major. He sat next to me in a lecture once and I panicked. We were basically acquaintances at this point, so we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. I felt awkward, so I got up and chose another seat. Haha. I couldn't even look at him because he probably thought it was so weird that I did that. Story 9. In middle school, I was at a youth camp. For some reason, they decided that it'd be a fun game to have a competition where they put a big latex medical glove over the kid's head, stopping just above the mouth. That way your nose and head are inside the balloon, but your mouth is outside the balloon. The kid that could pop their balloon first, by inflating it, won. So you had to breathe in through your mouth and out through your nose as fast as you could. I thought that winning the game would impress my crush, so I was all in. I forgot that I had chronic allergies. I won. My balloon popped first, but it was packed full of industrial strength snot and exploded on everyone else on stage in front of everybody. Story 10. Way back in my first year of middle school, I was crushing on this girl for what felt like decades. Of course, in reality, I'd only known her for 8-9 months. And by known I mean I was super shy and awkward around her, but would occasionally muster up the courage to say hi. We were at spring camp for a week. It was Friday and there was a dance that evening. I had been assigned to her group. We were all eating lunch and talking about the dance. I told the group I didn't know how to dance. She said, "I'll teach you." My blood ran cold and my head went empty. And to bury my crush on her, I rolled my eyes and sarcastically said, "Yeah, okay, don't you have a boyfriend?" She repeated herself. "Thale, I'll teach you." Yeah, that is what she really said. I heard it the way I wanted to hear it. I don't even remember my response to that, but I do know it was the last time I ever went near her. Story 11. This was years ago. There was a guy I liked and we were both in one of the latest extra classes that started at 5 p.m. where you could just work on your own schoolwork. We were often the only ones there and we would just chat and flirt a bit. Well, he had a bag of peanuts and was trying to catch them with his mouth, and I ended up throwing them for him and vice versa. When I finally caught one, I managed to choke. Now, I vomit quite easily. He tried to give me a hug and I vomited blood and bits of peanut all over his shirt. I have never been more embarrassed. He was very sweet about it though, and I lent him my hoodie so he could change. I think we both liked each other, but neither of us had the courage to ask the other out. I still think about him years later. Story 12. Walked up to a group of people she was in conversation with at a party. Someone just wrapped up a joke, so I did the thing from the movies where I laughed along like I was there the whole time. You know, to blend in discreetly. As the laughter died down, I let out an audible and awkward "ha ha." Just kidding. As if I had been the one telling the story. No idea where it came from, it just came out. It was the most awkward moment of silence and group staring. My crush just looked at me with this kind of bewildered amusement as I slowly turned and walked away to live with the weight of my eternal shame. Anyway, that was like almost 15 years ago. We'll never forget. We celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary next month, so at least that dulls the pain some. Story 13. I dated a girl in high school who was on the school's color guard. I sat through some of her practices, and one night as I was walking home with her, she had her big-ass color guard flag. I asked to see it and started twirling it around like some sort of Jackie Chan wannabe. And I whacked her so hard in the mouth with the butt of the pole, it chipped a tooth. My parents helped pay for the dentist bill. I lost my girlfriend, and I was teased relentlessly for the next few years in school. If we had social media back then, I'm pretty sure I'd be a lifelong meme over the entire ordeal. Story 14. 6th grade in the early 80 seconds. I was wearing a brand new ivory-colored mini-skirt outfit and felt cute. My seat in English class was front row, farthest right. The chairs were those horrible hard plastic ones, and my crush was one row back and 2 seats over. It was a new school and the walls were very thin. Even though we were working quietly, we could hear the teachers in the rooms to either side talking. I had to fart, and after holding it as long as I could, I tried to one cheek sneak it out. Bad idea. It reverberated so loudly on that hard plastic chair that there was tomb-like silence in all 3 classrooms for nearly a whole minute before the teacher opened the window and door. The kids started laughing, and I tried to sink through the floor with a flaming face. I'm over 50 now and still remember that moment in crystal clear, cringe-inducing detail. Story 15. It was back in high school. My teacher asked if anyone could volunteer to take the box of canned food downstairs for the food drive. My crush raised his hand and she picked him, so off I raised my hand too. I'm fairly certain she knew I had a crush on him. Now that I'm older, I know teachers will pair up students they know might like one another. We were walking down the hall and he got hurt somehow. A tiny little scratch on his knuckle that barely bled. And I was so excited to show off my Hello Kitty band-aids and get close enough to touch him. Well, I had severe anxiety as a kid, and when I tried to be cute and put the band-aid on him, my hands started trembling violently. He asked why I was shaking and I died inside. I have literally no recollection of what happened after that. Story 16. In high school, our French teacher had us come to the gym for an exhibition of classic French and Zydeco dances. She gradually starts calling members from our class to come down and dance. She calls me and my buddies start poking fun until I went down. My crush had been sitting next to me in the bleachers at the time, but I sheepishly went down. To start with, my attempt at the Cajun two-step looked like I was thrusting my hips at the teacher in a sexual way, and I then tripped and grabbed onto the teacher to prevent myself from falling. Of course, my hands landed right below her breasts, and the whole class, crush included, were hollering with laughter and asking how long I had a thing for the teacher. I still internally cringe thinking about the whole situation. Story 17. A longtime friend and I had been dating a few weeks when someone slipped something in my drink at a bar we were at with friends. He thought I had just gotten really drunk really fast and took me home shortly before my memory of the night goes fuzzy. I remember getting in the Uber and then my memory fades out and back into me hugging the toilet and puking while he rubbed my back and tried to comfort me. I recall looking at him, looking back in the toilet, and heaving so hard that I farted at the same time. Not just any fart, the kind that sounds like the crack of a whip. The painful did I just shit myself sort of fart. I was able to cry oh no before another heave made me do it again. Thankfully my brain gave me some peace and my memory blacked out again. The next time I came to I was in my bathtub and he had washed the puke out of my hair. and was sitting behind me supporting me so I wouldn't slip under the water. I blacked out again and woke up in PJs in my bed the next morning. He thought I'd overdone it. I knew I'd only had 2 drinks. I know that this isn't something that was within my control, but let me tell you, if I could have blinked myself out of existence after that first ass clapper, I would have. Learn from my embarrassment. Reddit. No bar is safe, and that tipsy friend you asked to watch your drink while you run to the bathroom is not sufficient, especially if you return to her sucking her date's face with her back to your cup. Story 18. I was about 10 years old. She was a beautiful Mexican girl. I was so scared of talking to girls that I never said a word to her. One day in Sunday school, the teacher thought everyone looked like they were tired, so she called for a break to stand up and stretch. After standing, she said everyone reach for the ceiling. At that moment, my ADHD kicked in. Within seconds, I was standing up on my chair and leaping off of it, trying to hit the ceiling. As I landed on the floor, my momentum carried me right straight into the girl who was now sitting back down. I tripped at the same time and fell to my knees. My upper body and face all fell right into her lap. At the same time, I couldn't really get up because in order to do that, I would have had to brace myself with my arms basically on her private region in order to push back off. Finally, the teacher pulled me off of her and I sat back down. I didn't have much to say the rest of class, nor did I make eye contact with anyone. Story 19. I had a huge crush on the hottest football player at my university. We had a couple of classes together because our core major classes overlapped. I saw him a lot around campus because it was a small school, and he was hard to miss. My dreams finally came to reality when he DM'd me asking for help on some biology lab prep work. We were in the same lab and sat at the same lab bench, although we were not partners. So I was eating breakfast before my classes and I got his DM. I replied that I would help him once I opened my laptop in my first class. I put my phone in my coat pocket and started the 5-minute walk to my class. When I got to my class, I realized that my phone didn't lock and I had sent him between 20 to 30 thumb-ups emojis. While it wasn't physically in front of him, it was so embarrassing and hard to recover from. I can just imagine him getting 20-some notifications in 5 minutes. Story 20. I'm an embarrassment. Here's just my most recent one. So my job entails cleaning up after events. A few weeks ago, we had to remove some decor from a venue. So my coworker and I head over to the venue. Well, there's a technician who works in the venue. I don't know his name, but I've had a secret crush on him for a few months. He's probably like a foot taller than me. Well in shape, really sculpted features on his face, and marvelous hair. He's a god, to put it lightly. He's beautiful. Ugh. There's no other way to describe him. I see him around once every week, but I've never spoken to him. Anyways, we get to the venue and there's a guy fixing up an entertainment system. He's partially under a table working with some plugs. I'm standing there staring at this person trying to get my bearings straight because A, he's in a wife beater tank and his bare arms are exposed up to his shoulder. God, those arms. And B, I really wanted to know who it was as I couldn't see his head as it was under the table. Finally, after a minute of me staring at him like a hawk eyeing its prey, the guy appears from under the table and I see his face. It's my crush, and of course, he comes out from under the table to see me just staring at his arms. Now I know he saw me staring because he just kinda stares back. There was an awkward stare off. I swear you could feel the tension in the air. I just wanted to melt into the floor at that moment. My crush, a very attractive guy, in a wife beater and working a technical job of fixing something as he's handy. God, he's beautiful. Then to catch me staring at him. Ugh, I'm never recovering from this. I put my head down and get to work, hoping to avoid any further mishaps. But of course, it gets better. He's working at a station near the door, near the box I'm storing the decor in. I'm walking with a decor we'd just removed. It's a large piece, but I'm determined to make it, and me being my clumsy self, I trip. Guess who happens to be literally right in front of me? Yep, that's right, my crush. I really wish I could say I was making this stuff up, but alas, this is my life. And I really wish I could say my embarrassment ends there. It does not. So this all happens in slow motion as it usually does. I'm falling, and of course, what's my first instinct? To stop yourself. I grabbed his arm and fell against his chest to steady my fall. I grabbed his bare arm. He literally just looks down at me, laughs, and he goes, "I'm so sorry for walking in front of you. Are you okay?" And I just gaped at him, opening and closing my mouth like a fish out of water struggling for air. I don't even think I managed to get a response out. I literally think I grunted. Oh God, it was awful. Why could I not just be a normal human for once? Then I had to sit in my shame and remove the decor on something across from the station he was working on. Literally him facing me and me facing him. I'm keeping my head down, trying to not do anything else stupid. Him being an idiot and attempting to take the decor down in a stupid, not very resourceful way. I feel eyes on me and look up, and my crush is just staring at me. I swear he was trying to size up if I was literally straight out of the loony bin. Even though it was a few weeks ago, I'm so embarrassed. Gonna avoid that venue for a while. This is once a week for me though. It's awful. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I would really appreciate it if you could drop a like and subscribe to help me reach 1,000 subscribers.